The Giants get back to winning, but did Buster Posey do more harm than good with that impromptu press conference? Let's talk about it right here on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. My name is Alan Stiles, talking about your San Francisco Giants Monday through Friday. And on today's show, the Giants get back on the winning side of things. I told y'all they were going to beat the A's. I don't know why, but they have these moments where they turn up a little bit. They're able to beat the A's and get back on the winning side of things. But the biggest story was Buster Posey and that press conference media availability that he had yesterday, and maybe not what he said, but what he didn't say. And last but not least, we have Giants versus A's part 2. So let's start with the Giants taking on the Athletics and beating the Athletics. And it was a good night for the Giants. It was just a solid baseball game, not too many fireworks. I know a lot of you made it out there to watch the Giants take on a former crosstown rival, and you had Luis Ariza start there. He fouled a ball off of his foot, so he had to exit, which did throw a wrench in some things fairly early in the game. Bryce Eldridge was 0 for 3, but he had a run scored and a walk. Casey Schmitt just continues to ball out. Casey Schmitt, 2 for 4. Now, he's had his moments when he's been really hot, and then he's had his moments where he's cooled off, but he's been so good this season for the Giants. I know I've gone back and forth on, hey, whether or not he should be on the trade block or should the Giants look at him as a cornerstone. I could probably go either way, but it really is a testament to how hard Casey Schmitt has worked to have the season that he's having with all the positions that he's played. To start in left field and end up at second base, there aren't a lot of players. You know, I love my positionless baseball. There aren't a lot of players that are able to do that, and that makes Casey Schmitt that much more valuable for the Giants, or if they did decide to see where his value is that on the market. Rafael Devers, we're going to talk about Rafael Devers as he did play yesterday. He did have an RBI in a pretty big spot. The Giants were up 2-1, and he comes up and makes it 3-1. He was 1 for 4. Jung Hoo Lee goes ding dong Donkey Kong to the biggest part of the ballpark. Right? The same place, Triples Alley, that we complain about, not saying you specifically, whoever's listening or watching, but the collective we complain about. Jung Hoo Lee put his big boy pants on with one of the longest, if not the longest, home run of his career. So Jung Hoo Lee, 2 for 3. Obviously, he's not hitting 600 like he was a couple weeks ago, but Jung Hoo Lee continuing to be on that tear. And I really do think that he should be an all-star, and I do believe that he will be an all-star, but keep voting out there. He was 2 for 3 with an RBI and a home run. Willie Adames was 2 for 4. Matt Chapman was 1 for 4. Drew Gilbert had 2 walks. And Daniel Susac, who I know when I talked about Daniel Susac, what was that, last week? There were a lot of people commenting saying, Alan, I don't know who's out there hating on Daniel Susac. Well, it might not be you, and I know different platforms, whether it's Twitter, X, to Instagram, and TikTok, all the different platforms can change a little bit. Yeah, but a lot of people, the honeymoon is over for Daniel Susac in their minds, and he definitely has cooled off a bit, which he was always going to do. Once again, the Giants had talked about moving Patrick Bailey prior to Daniel Susac in the mix, having him on the team. Jesus Rodriguez even on the team. The Giants didn't feel like Patrick Bailey was their catcher of the future. That doesn't necessarily mean that Daniel Susac or Jesus Rodriguez is their catcher of the future, but it does feel like all those things were in motion. The reason I bring it up is because I don't think they traded Patrick Bailey or it would be pretty stupid to trade Patrick Bailey because Daniel Susac was 7 for 12 or 7 for 10 or whatever he was. I don't think that's what it was. And from what I've heard, there were conversations going on last season. I don't know if that goes beyond baseball or the locker room or clubhouse, I don't know, but it's not simply, hey, Daniel Susak's playing well. Hey, Jesus Rodriguez playing well. Two guys that weren't even in our system, in our organization last season to start that season. Let's trade multi-time Gold Glover Patrick Bailey. It did not happen like that. I just wanted to make that clear. But yeah, the idea that Daniel Susak, the A's just moved on from him, and now he's going to hit 600 and win MVPs and be the next Mike Piazza. That's probably not going to be the case either, but hopefully we can fall somewhere in between and closer to Mike Piazza than the other side. I mean, the reality is they missed on Joey Bart. I know Joey Bart's still floating around on the Pirates. They missed on Joey Bart. Patrick Bailey felt like they had hit their ceiling, and they wanted to get what they can get and get that first rounder. And honestly, maybe in a way, view that and say, hey, we are moving towards our rebuild, right? This is a way for us to move towards our rebuild and just grab another first rounder and grow in that way. By the way, I had to double check this as soon as I said it. Joey Bart is on the Braves now. Okay. Joey Bart is on the Braves now. So I had to make that clear. I think he was just traded, a couple days ago. So I had to, when I said it, I thought, wait, is he still on the Pirates? I'm not sure about that. So Joey Bart is on the Braves now. The Braves love former Giants, by the way. Just a quick sidebar. They love former Giants. Who they got? Yastrzemski, Dominic Smith. They got the whole crew, and I think I'm forgetting some. They got the whole crew over there. So yeah, good on, like I said, good on Joey Bart for hanging around. But the reality is the Giants, I guess, wanted to reset this thing again, and Daniel Susak could be the guy, but it's not a foregone conclusion that because he had a hot start to his career, he's going to be the future catcher for the Giants. Last but not least, I wanted to get to what the A's did at the dish, which wasn't much. And like I said, these dudes can hit. And Robbie Ray, come on down, take a bow. Zach Geloff obviously got his hand stepped on, so he had to leave the game. So some early injuries, both sides for the Giants and the A's. Shea Langeliers, Ofer, Tyler Soderstrom had two of their hits. Nobody else really did anything besides Max Muncy, and that was the RBI that he was able to drive in, of course, with that hit. So that's where the A's offense kind of ended. Savali only went 4 innings, 2 earned runs, and the Giants on that side, Robbie Ray, take an absolute bow. 8 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. Caleb Killian in that new closer role. He comes in there, shuts the door, 1 hit, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. That's how you just win a ball game, right? When the Giants do it like this, it's so simple. It's just so very simple to just go out, get timely hits, pitch the baseball, catch the baseball, hit the baseball, go home with a W. They make it look so simple once every 4 games. Besides that, it looks very difficult to play the game of baseball. They do not make it look easy. You know, they always say that about players, and scouts say, we like guys that make it look easy. You ever hear about a center fielder who glides to the baseball, or everything looks very easy, not just in baseball, but in all sports, right? There's certain quarterbacks where it doesn't look easy. You know, it looks difficult. There's certain quarterbacks out there that I watch and I say, man, I could do that. That looks pretty simple to me, even though I know it's not, but they make it look easy. There are other quarterbacks out there that do not make it look easy. There are shortstops that make it look easy. There are shortstops that don't make it look easy. The Giants can make the game of baseball look very easy about once every 4 games. Besides that, it looks very difficult. Like, you watch the Giants and you think, yeah, I don't know if I could hit MLB pitching, because it seems like these guys have no clue what is going on. But last night was not the case. They did what they had to do. It was not an offensive onslaught, but it was just enough to get the W and get back on the winning side of things. And as we get into the Buster Posey media availability, Robbie Ray is a guy, after something like that, he has been on a roll here. I know Logan Webb has also been on a roll, but like I said, we'll talk about what Buster had to say about Logan Webb. He's been on a roll here, And honestly, I feel like I'm in the danger zone where I'm going to be recording one of these shows, and there's going to be a notification about one of these guys getting traded. And it's probably going to be Robbie Ray, because he's been an absolute stud right now. We know Luis Ariz, as you know, he had that foot injury and things like that as he fouled the ball off of his foot. But we're getting close here. We are in the danger zone. It's really as if we're just waiting for the first big trade to happen. I know some smaller ones have happened, but we're waiting for the biggest juggernaut to go down. That's what we're waiting for right now. And then this thing is really going to kick off. On the other side, let's talk about Buster Posey's media availability. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? More Locked On Giants coming up. Workplace chaos can show up fast. That's where Indeed Sponsored Jobs comes in. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach candidates who actually fit what you're looking for based on skills, experience, and location. Finding the right person can make all the difference, whether it's building a business or building a winning team. You know, I like to bring up my guy, Joe Panic, how the Giants added him to their infield, and the next thing you know, they won a championship. Some of the best moves organizations make aren't always the splashiest ones. Sometimes it's finding the best person who fits exactly what the team needs at the right moment. That's what stood out to me with the Giants, and it's the same idea behind Indeed Sponsored Jobs, helping connect organizations with candidates who are the right fit from the start. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Get your daily Giants coverage completely ad-free by joining the Everydayer Club today. Start your 7-day free trial right now and get closer to your team without the interruptions. Click the link in the show notes or go to Locked On sfgiants at supercast.com to claim your free trial. Man, oh man. So I'm pretty sure what happened was I finished recording yesterday's show. I was getting ready to edit it and put it out there. And I hop on X and I see a note saying that Buster Posey is going to speak to the media at 2 p.m. Let the rumors swirl. Is he going to step down? Is it going to be a nothing burger? Is he going to say something about Tony Vitello? Is he going to say something about Rafael Devers? Is he going to say something about the Pride Night controversy, if you will? And Buster Posey didn't really say anything. He didn't really say anything. And a lot of people kind of felt like he wasn't going to say much. But when you say, hey, I'm going to have a level of media availability, and we have some things to say, that made people, even myself, start to think, okay, maybe something could be circulating here. What could it be about? But a lot of things have happened with the Giants. Obviously, you had Pride Night just in the last, 2 weeks, Pride Night, Devers, and just more losing, of course, and a sweep. So you throw all those things together. So Buster Posey really didn't say a ton, if I'm being honest. He refused to take questions about Pride Night, which had a lot of people upset. He said, I'm here to answer baseball questions. I'm going to give a bunch of kudos to Giants media for kind of pressing him on the no comment on Pride Night, simply because I guess the semantics of it not being a baseball question when it happened on the baseball field, you have an investigation going on, kind of felt like a cop-out. And here's the thing, because I know some of you are going to say, Alan, it isn't baseball. Why does Buster Posey has to speak on it? I would just say this. Why are you putting yourself in that situation? You know you're going to get asked about it. You know you're going to get asked about it. You knew that going out there, that was going to be a huge talking point. But Buster, hey, he said what he said. And then he said, we're not doing anything else. We're not taking comments. We're not talking about it at all. So after that happened, Buster continued again. The weirdest thing about the media availability is more so the fact that it just didn't feel like all of their ducks were in a row again. You think, okay, Alan, enough with the pride night conversation. Let's talk baseball. Okay, let's talk baseball. Devers, right? Showing up Tony Vitello. Hey, Buster, have you talked to Devers? No. Is he going to play tonight? I think so. What are we supposed to get out of this, Buster? So he had that to say. He did say they are not open to trading Logan Webb. So some things that we did learn from this media availability, presser, whatever you want to call it, they are not open to trading Logan Webb. He's essentially the only person, the only player they are not open to trading. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, well, what about Bryce Eldridge? I think it more so comes down to Bryce Eldridge isn't that type of target, right? Teams aren't necessarily looking for Bryce Eldridge at a trade deadline, knowing the Giants are sellers. They know they're not going to move Bryce Eldridge right now because they're trying to get more young talent. That's why Webb is a bigger conversation than a Bryce Eldridge. So he didn't technically say Bryce Eldridge, but that's more so because he was thinking in the mindset of players that as a seller, other teams would want. And Bryce Eldridge, even though he's having a nice season as he's starting to really get used to major league pitching and all of that, that's not exactly what a buyer would be looking for right now. He has not discussed waiving the no trade clause with Adames or Matt Chapman. And I mean, that's pretty much it. They're really, like I said, I don't really know why he felt the need or if somebody said, hey, go out there and say something. I'm just not really sure why he felt the need to say anything. What else that something else that happened that not a lot of people really were talking about is that Tony Vitello had his normal presser before a game, but Tony Vitello, he did have some things to say about Pride Night that he cleared up at the very least. I had no idea anyone was going to write on their hat. That's something that we weren't sure about. He also, I think, quoted the town talking about Devers, saying that Devers was good and or him and Devers are good. And that was pretty much it. But, you know, he did say some words about the Giants being inclusive and things like that. It was more than what Buster said, at least. And, you know, it's not to harp on, hey, Alan, that happened last week. I'm not trying to harp on it per se, but it keeps getting brought up because the Giants are putting themselves just in tough spots as far as I'm concerned. You know, I saw something that said, oh, I worked in public relations. And one thing that comes up a lot is don't turn a 3-day situation into a 3-week situation. And that is exactly what the Giants have done. They could have got ahead of this. They could have given Buster a little bit more flexibility, assuming it wasn't Buster's decision. We don't know that. Honestly, to do it now, knowing that it never got addressed, right? As far as somebody speaking about it, you drag it on even more. And now you have people protesting in front of Oracle Park and rehashing this thing because now they're not happy about how Buster handled it, right? So it's not a matter of me trying to drag it on or anything like that. It's more so a matter of how they're handling it is dragging it on, right? They could have come out when it first happened with somebody, whether that's Buster or Manassian. Hey, XYZ, this is what happened. This is how we're going to make sure it doesn't happen again, because you had Major League Baseball saying, hey, well, you didn't communicate to your players in the correct manner. So it is a baseball thing, as much as a lot of people don't want to look at it like that. It's become one. And Buster Posey, and honestly, just the Giants organization, you know, they just made this thing way worse, you know, just made it way worse. The Devers thing, you know, just look, hey, I think Buster said at one point, everybody has missteps. So they just have no spine, in my opinion. And I know Devers had a big RBI yesterday, but this season, where we're at right now, you know, it's more so about building a culture. I'd really love to know if you gave Tony Vitello truth serum, if he truly wanted to play Devers. Maybe he didn't feel like he's got the cachet to play him, but that's why people were worried about bringing in a college coach with no professional experience, because he should be able to say, no, bleep that. Devers deserves to be on the bench. You can't show me up like that. Would Bochy go for that? Would Bob Melvin go for that? Would Ron Washington go for that? Would Dusty Baker go for that? That dude is riding pine next game. Believe you me, especially if the season is already cooked, especially when he ain't really been balling like that anyway. There's absolutely no way. And those are the types of things, those are the types of questions that got turned into maybe hate earlier in the season before Tony Vitello did anything. But those were legitimate questions when this hire was made. Does he feel comfortable sitting Rafael Devers on the bench? Does he feel comfortable sitting Matt Chapman on the bench when he says catch the beeping ball? Does he feel comfortable sitting Willie Adames on the bench when he's he and ha-han with Mookie Betts? And the answer over and over and over again has been no. Has been no. Is that why the Giants are 8 million games under 500? I don't know, but I don't believe it's helping. I do not believe that it is helping. On the other side, we have Giants A's part 2. Can the Giants win another one and get back to 2 in a row? More Locked On Giants coming up. ED is way more common than most guys think, and millions of men deal with it at some point. HIMS offers a simple, convenient way to take care of your health by connecting you with licensed healthcare providers online and giving you access to personalized treatment options from the comfort of your home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines, just a straightforward process designed to make getting care easier. Taking care of yourself shouldn't feel complicated, and HIMS makes the process private and easy to navigate. It's healthcare built around your schedule and your comfort. Between work, family, and everything else going on, finding time for appointments can be tough. Having access to licensed providers online means you can prioritize your health without having to rearrange your entire day. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/lockedonmlb. That's hims.com/lockedonmlb for your free online visit. hims.com/lockedonmlb. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is a generic version of Viagra. Viagra is a registered trademark of Viatris Specialty LLC. HIMS is not affiliated with or endorsed by Viatris. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working toward the same goal. And that's true in sports, just like it is in business. When the Warriors added Sean Livingston, who I don't think ever missed a mid-range jump shot, that was exactly what they needed to win the championship. One thing that really stands out is how they got everyone pulling in the same direction with that decision. It wasn't just one great player or coach. It was a coordinated effort across the entire organization that made it successful. Great organizations win because operations matter. And that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free at odoo.com/locked on. That's odoo.com/locked on. Giants taking on the A's part 2, and they were able to get a huge W because every W is a huge W for the Giants right now, and they're hoping that they can keep this thing rolling, and it won't be easy. As we have said before, there are some, I guess, matchups that are good for the Giants and puts them in a position to win. I don't know if this would be considered one of them. A gauge jump, lefty, that's number one. And the Giants always have a little bit of problems with lefties. Gauge jump, the rookie from Aliso Viejo, he has been rolling. Okay, 23 years old. He is 3-1 this season with a 2.37 ERA and 26 strikeouts with a .99 WHIP. And it's not going to be easy for the Giants. You know, they put themselves in a good position yesterday. They were able to get a W, but Gage Jump, he's been throwing the ball well, and they're going to have to really lock in. Obviously, with that lefty, we'll see what happens. Any lineup changes. I know the Giants have been doing it a little bit less, trying to keep Bryce Eldridge in there. So I'm fascinated how Tony Vitello goes about it. Today, on the other side, you have the one, the only Tyler Mahle. And Tyler Mahle, let's see where his ERA is at. It's got to be going down at this point, right? Is it starting to go down a little bit? No, he's at 6.04 for his ERA. That is pretty brutal. He's 1-7. That is terrible. Okay. I've never seen the win percentage is 12% or something crazy like that. He's thrown in 56 2/3 innings, 57 Ks, 24 walks. He's given up 63 hits and 38 earned runs. And Gage Jump, by the way, before we jump off of his stats, just as far as his season so far in the innings that he has pitched, he's thrown in 30 1/3 innings with, like I said, 26 strikeouts and 8 earned runs. So yeah, not going to be an easy one for the Giants, but you know, as they try to move forward and turn the page on what was just a pretty brutal 2 weeks, you beat a team like the A's, who I know it's not crosstown anymore, but there's still a level of rivalry there that'll get the juices flowing. Hopefully they can build some momentum. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants. Thank you for watching Locked On Giants. Be sure to follow me on social media at @Styles Files, Styles with an I. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Giants ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to Locked On sfgiants at supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we say into the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, peace.